I think a lot of us adults can agree that the hardest part about being an adult is that we're no longer children, as simple as it sounds. Because I think there's just so much about being children and being a child that's so appealing, less concerns, not fully responsible for yourself, so less responsibilities. And, but more importantly, there's so much more of like a childish creativity and positive, pleasant excitement and energy and imagination that you have. And when we're little, because there's so many things that we don't yet need to deal with or focus on or stress about, we end up finding ourselves being able to dream so much more, think so much bigger about totally irrational things. And that's totally okay. But just letting ourselves, giving ourselves permission in the space to do that is incredibly powerful. And then when we become adults, a lot of our responsibilities, a lot of our concerns, a lot of our relationships, just demands of being an adult take away from our ability to consistently do that, consistently be in our imagination, consistently dream big. And it causes a lot of stress. It causes a lot of depression and discouragement. And a lot of people feel like they've just changed so much. They've lost that part of themselves that's playful and fun and positive and maybe pleasant to be around, but creative, and imaginative as well, and innovative in whatever way, or being able to have creative, fun hobbies that they used to have when they were a kid. So it's really hard when we feel like we lose that ability to dream and to dream big and be really creative and irrational with what we want to come up with. Um, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves too. And so since I used to work with children, and that was how I started my whole career, that was how I started, or the whole first half of my career was working with kids in crisis. This was a big piece. And a lot of the teenagers I worked with who were suicidal, they had such a dim image or idea of what their future could possibly look like, which is why they thought that they didn't have a future and they just wanted to end things. And so it came up a lot in conversations with them about the fact that they wish that they could have dreams. They wish that they were ambitious, or that they wish that they could pursue their interests, the things that really lit them up. But for some reason, either other people or life or just experiences beat them down or told them somehow that they were not allowed to do that thing. It's not okay. It's not going to happen. It's not available to you, which is incredibly sad to begin with, just for anybody to be told that or anybody to be taught and somehow learn that. But what I want to talk about today, and this will be a relatively brief message, is just the reminder that we are always dreaming. When we think about dreams, we think the big, big things that we're imagining, beautiful things, exciting things, healthy, successful things, whatever it might be for you. It could be just completely making up something. The majority of the time it is. But when we're dreaming, think about it at night. When our brain is actually dreaming, it is just letting loose any kind of thoughts and stimuli and just like images and things. And that's the reason why we remember them, is because they can be very, very vivid and intense, whether, even if it makes zero sense whatsoever. But when we wake up in the morning, our brain is still operating the same way. Our brain is still coming up with images. It's coming up with ideas. It's coming up with projections of what life could look like, or what you could feel like, or what you could say to a person, or where you could go in the world. But the problem is, when we're awake, all of our responsibilities and all of our demands and our tasks and the way we live our life and the things we commit ourselves to put boxes around this process of dreaming. So we're always dreaming, but during the day, these thoughts are just boxed in, filtered, put into containers, because we're supposed to focus only on the things we need to focus on during the day, right? We can't just sit in la la land all day long. As much as I would so want to just sit in la la land all day long, I have a huge imagination. I would love to do that. And so it makes sense that we have to filter our thoughts. We have to focus our thoughts. We have to compartmentalize all this dreaming that our brain does naturally at night. But the reason I'm bringing this up, the reason this is important is because a lot of people, especially adults, as I mentioned before, feel like they've lost their ability to dream and to have big dreams and to think in like an imaginative way. But that's not true. Our brains are always going through the process of what we think of as creating dreams. We just compartmentalize those thoughts in tons of different ways, often anxiety provoking ways during our daytime when we're awake. And so I want this to serve simply just as a kind of a pleasant reminder that you have not lost your ability to dream. But perhaps if you're scared of that, if you feel like you have lost your ability to dream or have dreams or pursue your dreams, perhaps instead we should be focusing more on those boxes that you put your thoughts into during the day. How many boxes you have, what are those boxes? What boxes are causing you stress? Why are they causing you stress? Because it's those boxes that pull you away from your imagination. It's those boxes that distract you from thinking in an imaginative, ambitious, and innovative way. And that's what brings you into anxiety. It brings you into stress because it feels like you can't have that mental release. And that's just pleasant feeling, the enjoyable, exciting feeling of thinking big, imagining your life different. It's exciting. It's exciting stuff. But when we compartmentalize it, we lose sight of that. And that feels like we lose a part of ourselves. So I'll repeat one more time. It's not that you've lost your ability to dream or to have high ambitions or to have unique interests that you love thinking about for yourself in your life. It might just be that the compartments into which you've put your thoughts on a daily basis might just be a lot more confining than you even realized. Those compartments, those boxes might be causing you a lot more stress than you might want to endure. So there might be something about those boxes that we should look at, something to adjust about how you're compartmentalizing those thoughts in order to create space for you to dream again, for you to feel that release and that space and that relief of being able to be in your imagination once again.